Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode number 12.
We hope you haven't missed us too much in the time that we've kind of been, sorting things out.
We have been a little bit, I wouldn't say missing in action because we're still posting stuff on our Instagram. And if you guys don't follow us there, please go and check it out. We put content that is pretty cool and informative. And we also give you updates about our life. Sohan, what's been happening in the past few weeks? Tell us.
So the reason we'd say we've probably just been getting a handle on things is, it's been borders are open in Australia after a very long time and everyone's sort of just been traveling. So, Laura has been spending some time in Europe for the past, no, actually I wouldn't say the past few weeks. She spent 3 weeks there, but it's been a while. And then I was away. I was away in Canada as well. And so, it's been crazy time getting all this content sorted out for you guys so that, by the time we're back, it will be amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty hectic with the time difference and everything. So we are finally back home and ready to go and ready to create content for you guys.
And we hope you're ready to listen because we have some really cool stuff coming up.
Yeah, so on that note, and after our amazing update, thank you so much to Sohan and Bill for supporting us.
Yeah, and also for supporting, equality in the workplace and looking for ways to spread awareness about that. So thank you guys.
Today, we're back with our STEM Femme of the Week, which we haven't actually shared with you guys in the podcast episodes for a while, just because we have had a few incredible guests joining us. And yes, her name is Ada Lovelace. Oh, Lovelace.
Better. Awesome. So she was born as Augusta Ada King in 1815, London. So, get all your period film mind going. She was the Countess of Lovelace and was also an English mathematician and writer. And she was known for her work with Charles Babbage. I believe that's how it said. Please don't judge me. English is my second language. So she worked with Charles Babbage on mechanical.
That works with me, not with you. No, I'm kidding. Not even with me anymore.
Mechanical general purpose computers that he had kind of written about and created, I guess, the analytical engine. So she's actually, basically, in summary, she is known as being the world's first computer programmer. Before anything, there was Ada Lovelace.
Countess. I can't actually believe that she was able to do such a thing in the 1800s. Like, that right? Sounds ridiculous because I didn't even know that you could develop such.
I mean, technically the machine wasn't built, but the concept and its build and everything, it was like a manual that was made, and she kind of translated a few different documents from Italian and had all these. She was the first person who recognized its power and understood how to make it work. So yeah.
Okay. So that is actually a really good explanation, Sohan, because as soon as you mentioned that, like, my mind literally went back to just imagine like her writing code, and I was like, wow, like they had already all of that, but obviously they didn't. So thank you so much for expanding on that.
Sorry, don't want to mislead anyone, but she was pretty much known for writing the first algorithm for a machine, inventing the subroutine, and recognizing the importance of looping. So
what does looping mean?
It's, the for loops and stuff that they write in code and how it's able to allow you to do multiple iterations of stuff. Okay, I can't explain beyond that. It's just really important in code. It allows them to do like multiple iterations of the same code without having to rewrite the code.
Right.
For X in Y, that kind of thing. I presume. Yeah. Okay. But interestingly enough, she has like the coolest background. She was the daughter of the famous poet Lord Byron. So completely not a mathematical background. He did die when she was 8, and she never lived with him because her parents separated. So that was, he didn't really have an influence on her at all. Basically, her tutelage, no. Her mathematical studies started when she was about 17 in 1832, and that's when her abilities in math started to emerge. And she took a keen interest in mathematics and it pretty much dominated the majority of her adult life. Her mother was pretty obsessed with making her like do anything completely opposite to what her dad was a part of because she always credited like, poetry and stuff to his insanity. So she was really, really keen to get Ada into mathematics from a very early age. And Ada happened to be privately educated in maths and science by William Friend, William King, and Mary Somerville, who was a noted 19th century researcher and scientific author. We will talk about her in another episode. And in the 1840s, the mathematician Augustus de Morgan extended Ada with much help in her mathematical studies, including the study of advanced calculus and numbers of Bernoulli. Bernoulli. Okay, he's back. He's everywhere. So basically, all that tutoring from Augustus ended up forming her celebrated algorithm for Babbage's analytical engine. And later on, in a letter to her mother, that her tutor, Augustus de Morgan, suggested that Ada's skill in mathematics might actually lead her to become, and quote, an original mathematical investigator, perhaps of first-rate eminence. So pretty much he could see her potential and how amazing she was. In summary, to end it, like, she was really incredible because she had a lot of, an artistic background in from her dad's influence. So somehow, weirdly, even though he didn't have a big influence in her life, she would use poetry. But she believed that intuition and imagination were critical to effectively applying mathematical and scientific concepts. Kind of counter like intuitive. A lot of people, don't really say that intuition is important, but she knew what was up. And she valued metaphysics as much as math, viewing both as tools for exploring the unseen worlds around us.
Wow, what a lady. Like, honestly, thank you for sharing that story. You sounded really passionate and she's truly inspiring. So, as you guys can see, the name of the episode is confidence. And I feel like confidence is a huge word that we all have like our different meaning to it, right? Like back on the day, I remember that I thought confidence was, jumping on a stage and talking about a certain topic that I was comfortable talking about. And throughout time, I have actually started learning that confidence is actually being secure and feeling safe on my own skin more than anything. So we really thought it was important to sort of like unpack what the word means, at least to the You Don't Look Like an Engineer podcast, and essentially tell you guys why it's so important, what we have learned through our time in the industry, because, it plays a big role in your relationships and what you do at work and in your life.
Unfortunately, a lot of what we learn is there is a bit of a disparity between, male and female confidence. And without fully getting into, that's kind of been the influence behind us kind of getting to this episode. It's been the lead up. So that's been our journey into getting here. And so we thought it would be like a really cool idea, especially even with the podcast. We've had major learning curves on the topic of confidence and, getting your voice out there recorded every week for people to listen to. What do you think, Laura?
Yeah, especially about like subjects like the ones that we are discussing here in the podcast. Like we are talking about women in a male-dominated industry that is not just engineering, but science and technology. So it definitely takes quote unquote confidence to talk about this, because we sometimes are going to come across as controversial. So you do need to be like confident to do it. And I don't want to say the word that much, but it is true. And the few things that we hear in our everyday life is like fake it until you make it. And is it really true? Can you really fake it? And what does that even mean?
Usually confidence hacks, people just give you, just believe in yourself or stand up tall and smile really big and look confident and eventually you'll become confident. But, if we're kind of jumping straight into the deep end, I think, and back me up with your thoughts as well, that it doesn't necessarily have to look like that. Confidence doesn't have to be the loudest voice in the room. It doesn't have to be the most charismatic person in the room. It doesn't have to look like you completely think you can do everything before you get into it. And this ties in really well to our other episode on imposter syndrome. And if you haven't heard it, like just pause everything, drop everything you're doing and go give it a listen. So like if you're leveling up in life, it is perfectly normal to, and yeah, when you've started a new job or had a baby, I don't know, but it is normal to feel out of place. It is perfectly normal to feel like this skill set is beyond what you currently have. And that's good. That means you're leveling
Certainly.
up in life.
Yeah. So first of all, now I just before we get too carried away, you do say that a lot of people give you those advices, right? When you are, let's say, gonna speak in public, or when you are gonna go to an interview,
Yeah.
a lot of people are like, okay, like just smile, like oh my God, I remember when I was in high school, like people would be like, just think that you like talking to your teddy bears and things like that. Like advices that would be actually, if you think about it now, you're like, how would I imagine, or like think that people are naked or things like that
Yeah.
that you
Heard that
hear
one.
that were like super common, right? But if you think about it, like as a public speaker, like you want to engage with your audience, right? So all of those advices were sort of like, I don't know, just wrong. But let's go back to like let's do this exercise for a bit. And what comes to your mind when you hear the word confident? How like think about a time when you had actually felt like confident, that you were comfortable where you were, you knew what you were doing, and you were in a state of flow. Think about that and remember the feelings that you sort of like had in your body. Like maybe you felt at peace, maybe you felt you felt confident, maybe you felt happy, like assertive, whatever. And maybe think about when was that you felt that way. That the reason why I'm bringing this up is because that is actually confidence.
Yeah.
That is that feeling of comfort, of knowing that you are safe or that you know what you're doing, sort of thing. So think about that. And I think that that's exactly what confidence looks like. And that's exactly how confidence should feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Sohan?
No, definitely. I think maybe you shared it to me because it sounds like we read the same thing. That like if you think back to a time when you were sitting with maybe it's your favorite person, your sibling or your friend or someone, and you felt completely comfortable in not having to explain yourself or be crazy or be, just be yourself. That's confidence. That's
Yeah,
literally,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly right. And I think I heard it on an episode, like Alexis Fernandez talks about
Love
confidence
her
as
as
well.
well.
There's so much material about confidence out there,
There
but we
is,
just
there
want to
is. But I
put
really
it.
just want to reiterate like why this is important for us. And that's generally my like take on it that I've been seeing in the small amount of time I've been in the industry is that we've gone to workshops and we've heard from like senior people in the companies we're at where for example, women that have started working in any field or they're applying for a job, they feel like if they don't match 7 out of 8 of the requirements that are listed, they won't even apply for the job. They're like, oh, I don't match the bill. Whereas guys they will do so even if they only match 3 out of 8 of the skills. Like that's not even a pass mark.
That's really interesting because I associate that with perfectionism more than with confidence in itself. So we can discuss that in a bit, but
I think
yeah.
it's for me it sounds like it's a lack of confidence in your skill set. It's like you look at it and you feel you're not good enough to be able to do that role. Whereas, if you consider like everything new that you probably started, you have to be new at it. Like there's to be new is to be a novice, to be vulnerable, to feel like you
Yeah.
don't necessarily have all the skills. And somehow when we're put out of that place, we feel like we can't do it. I don't know if
Yeah,
it could be
exactly.
perfectionism. I could
It's
be
like
completely
it's
wrong.
no, it because it all ties together, right? It's confidence, perfectionism, the conception that you have about yourself, and essentially also your relationship with failure, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're comfortable with knowing that in life you don't have to get a 10 out of 10, in everything to to like achieve or to like get anywhere. Like we've seen it, like people that haven't finished high school, people that haven't even been to university have been like very successful. And sometimes yeah, we just have like a different understanding of what success looks like to everyone and blah blah blah.
But another example, the reason why I think it's confidence is that I was listening somewhere and they said that literally in the tech industry, women who have perhaps worked like 8 years in the industry, they're not as confident to, no, they're not even as confident in their abilities as say guys who've like literally just come in with like 3 years of experience. So there is that much of a difference, and that's why
Yeah.
there is a disparity.
Yes, certainly there is a confidence gap, and in fact, is one of the main factors in why there's a big gender disparity in the industry. And
In pay,
we in this,
in retention, it comes into play. We're not saying that the blame, so to speak, lies with either party. We're not saying, oh, women are not confident enough, so they're leaving. That's not it. But there is an element of, a minority in a majority situation where they don't necessarily feel as comfortable, or they feel incapable in certain situations, or because of certain, social pressures, social environments where that can maybe not boost their confidence so much. So we just thought this episode would be a good way to dissect a little bit of what actually confidence is, and maybe it can help you boost your own confidence if you like apply these little hacks in your life, or maybe it can just help you understand your version of confidence.
now before we get into all of this, let's define what exactly confidence is. And there's so many different sources that will tell you that like there's heaps of types of confidence and there's like different meanings to it. As I said earlier, like everyone sort of like has their own interpretation of what the word looks like and feels like and sounds like. Lol. Scientifically, there are two main types. So the first type is epistemic, which is a strong and unshakable belief that you are right. And it's funny because this goes back to what I was saying, how I was making a relationship between perfectionism and our relationship with like failure. It says that epistemic confidence is all about having confidence in one's competence. To harness it, you need systems in place that develop and confirm that competence, right? So the first one would be know your strengths and leverage them. Get clear on the things that you do well and develop ways to integrate them into your daily life. So it's funny because sometimes we focus on what we don't have, but we sort of like ignore those good things that we were very well equipped with since the day we were born. So it's a good way to recognize like what are our strengths. Perhaps in the sense of like work, your strength is to actually listen to people and communicate with them, but you don't really like I don't know, the mathematics aspect of it, or you don't actually like the report writing of it. So why would you focus on that when you know you hate it, you don't enjoy it, and you see that you're pretty good at like making a relationship with others and helping them through. So it's very important to sort of like listen to that and work on that so it comes natural to you. Another one would be just like to track your successes. So in order to improve, you have to measure things, right? So if you have a diary, or there's so many applications on your phone these days to track things, it's ridiculous. So if you track how you are literally tracking with your skills, with being that you're like just learning a new skill.
That's pretty much, it's a similar thing for people with imposter syndrome, like we keep mentioning. We talked about that before. It is important to go back and look at the things that you've achieved and stop looking at them with the lens of, oh my God, it was luck. Like genuinely look at the hard work that you put in. And it's not to inflate your head. That's not the point. The point is that you look at these things that you were able to accomplish, and then when something new and challenging comes your way, you're able to remember that, oh, you you have the basics. You don't necessarily need to meet all the requirements of a challenge, but you have the ability to problem solve. You have the ability to, I don't know, if you need to do a speech, like you have the ability to speak and think of an idea, and you have the ability to, reach out to people for whatever help and things, like anything. Like you break it down into the fundamentals that are needed for that. And based on your past successes, you're able to say that, oh, I have the ability to do this in the future, you know? So you're not
Totally.
debilitating yourself. And because it's all based on competence, epistemic confidence is based on an innate sense of competency. So to build competency, you need to continue your education. And that means deepening your knowledge of an area of expertise. So that strength that you chose in step one, that's not it. Like you're not just a natural at it. You keep diving deeper into it, and it's called like deep domain expertise, but you get into it and you learn about it, you practice it, and you get better and better. But the key here is, once you're building that, is also to practice open-mindedness, because I think eventually people with this have been known to get a bit stubborn and a bit, fixed. So it is important to, while you're building all this, have an open mind, listen to, the people around you, or take in a lot more feedback,
I
I
guess
guess.
to separate your ego from it
I guess
and
so.
your identity. If you want to know more about identity, we also have an episode on that. Haha. Because you keep saying how like to actually give yourself credit and like not to get like a big head, but like to actually like honor that, honor you wins. And I think it's key. It's like it's really really important that you are the friend, like you are to yourself the friend that you would like to have, if that makes sense. Like
Yes.
you don't really realize how much the game can change when you start having that relationship with yourself, when you hold yourself accountable, when you are compassionate with yourself, and when you just allow yourself to make mistakes. Because at the end of the day, like we're all humans, so that's a key thing to achieve confidence, right? To be okay with making mistakes. The second type of confidence is social, which goes to a projection of being self-assured and comfortable in your own skin.
So it's pretty much the traditional view that we have of confidence, someone who's like very comfortable with themselves, very loud, very open, just seems so out there. It's a social form of
Yeah,
confidence.
yeah.
So I think when they talk about, it's pretty much the perception of what confidence looks like, what it takes to be someone who is, engaged with everyone, or talking, very comfortably. What it takes is empathy and EQ, because it basically stems from the social aspect. When people look at people who are able to converse with others on any level, or when they're like, fully engaged or out there, putting themselves out there, looking like, very confident, it's not because they're trying to project something. It's because they genuinely have a high emotional quotient, and they have empathy for the people around them. They're interested, they're engaged, they want to understand people's motivations. They want to, their state of mind is pretty much in establishing connections, and and that makes them behave more open, and that's what other people look at and be like, oh my god, oh, that's so confident, right?
Yeah.
But it just comes from an actual interest in other people. It comes from genuine, social skills, essentially. So that gives you that aspect. And the other part of the social part is, if you like the way they talk about a person with no confidence in their social skills, that comes from self-deprecating language. If you only think about it from your own perception of yourself and keep saying, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, then that's detrimental to you becoming confident. So you have to change the way that you talk to yourself, and you have to realize that, it's beyond you. It's you being a human towards other people. They're important. They don't feel like, it's not third grade. No one's looking at you like a loser.
In order to sort of like create that confidence or understand how to be confident, just get really familiar with that perception that you have about yourself. So if this perception that you have holds you in a very negative sort of like, you know, term, then reanalyze that, really visit it, and understand where that is coming from. So if you think that you're not good at your job, being whatever it is that you do, not necessarily being like a STEM related, why do you feel like you're not good at your job? Like really unpack it, like peel that onion, right? Okay, why is it that you think you're not good? So it's because you don't have any like qualifications, let's say. So if you think that is related to qualifications of to competency, as Sohan was saying, then perhaps don't approach it as that critical voice, right? Don't be like, oh, you should know this already. Because with that statement, there's so much you missing out from learning, you know? Instead, look at it as, okay, I don't know this. What can I do to get to know this? Or like to actually learn about it. So it would be really important if you do that exercise. So how do I see myself? And also, how do I want others to see me? Because it does matter for us how other people perceive us. But it doesn't mean that because we want other people to see that we're like good people, we are going to like fake it and then we're going to be like acting good in front of others, but then we're going to go and be evil in the background. Well, that doesn't make sense, and it wouldn't make you feel good because there is no consistency in your actions and your words, right? So you're gonna feel frustrated at the end of the day. You're gonna get home and you're gonna feel bad because you're like, oh, I really want to like, I want people to see me good, and then I go and act badly. It is a really I'm just trying to give you all a really digestible example. So if you want people to perceive you like a good human or like a good professional, then do things that a good professional would do. Don't focus on the stuff that you're not doing. Focus on doing the things that would take you to become that. So it's so important. We have read multiple books and we have heard multiple audios that say like action is the only way you can attack, or like not attack, but you can like fight your mind, right? If your mind is producing all these negative thoughts, attack it with action. So start doing things. It's like when people tell you like, oh, if you're ready to date someone, if you want to date someone, or if you want to find the love of your life, then become the love of your life. Become the person that you want to end up with. So yeah, anyway, first thing, how do you see yourself? How do you want others to see you? And these two things are really linked to your values again, and what truly matters to you, which is really interesting because everything that we talk about sort of like ends up being about the same thing. So
That's how much they're interlinked. And essentially what we're trying to say is that, just do it. And this is not sponsored by Nike.
but just do what? Like also
Beat it with action, like you said. I think the main thing here is that it takes a lot of action to be able to look back and say, look, I did something. And we know like neurologically, when you have small wins, it's like lots of dopamine hits to your brain and your brain gets happy and you get hooked on actually doing more, which essentially is a feedback loop to achieving more. And it's really important because when you're able to do that and you're able to look back and stop that, the conversation of, oh, I can't do it, that essentially even changes your brain structure. It changes the gray matter in which part of the brain that it's formed, right? And we've talked about this, like the neurons in I think the right side of your brain, they multiply if you keep thinking of like negative stuff, but they multiply then if you think of positive stuff, which is
certainly
left side, more problem solving. You're able to do that more and more. So it's not a matter of faking it. It's essentially, I think, and I genuinely really agree with what you're saying, because I'd read a while ago that inner peace or inner confidence comes from when what you want to do and what you actually do are in alignment.
The second tip would be to be more self-aware about when you are self-sabotaging. Like, honestly, it's so important. If you really had like an amazing week, but you made a mistake at work, or like two things didn't really work out, don't be like, oh my God, nothing ever like works out, I'm a failure. because that essentially is stealing all the positive things that you did, and it's not fair. It's truly not fair. So be aware of when that comes up in your life and treat it accordingly. Don't be super like critical, as we had said. I read this quote today, and it really resonated because it's something that I'm currently working on with myself, and it made me just smile. And it said, "Be the adult that you needed when you were a child," sort of thing. And it's so true. Like if you talk to, at the end of the day, like we all have our inner child, and we all have our inner wounds, like and obviously we have said in the past that yes, like we all have trauma to heal from, and obviously we have to more like focus on the legacy that our parents left in us than anything. But in order to sort of like move on and like get to a level that we really like confident and whatever, we have to tame these things. And if we're not really aware of them, and then we're like very judgmental, then we're just not gonna trust ourselves, it's like, it's very interesting how it all works, because if you're talking like mean to yourself, then you're never gonna feel like comfortable where you are.
Not at all.
But if you start like treating yourself with like nice love and being like, "Oh, hi baby girl, how you doing? It's fine if you failed today, it's fine if you didn't finish your work today.
But that doesn't mean you
You'll be
can't hold
okay."
yourself to a certain standard. You can, but you have to recognize that, a little slip up is not the end of the world. Failure is literally the stepping stone to success. So if you have a little fall, it's okay. It happens, but you can get up and go again, Like you don't have to beat yourself up about it and be like, "Oh my God, I just suck and everything is so bad. Why do I do this?" Like it doesn't have to be like that. It's just, okay, I made a mistake. It's okay. It happens. What can we do going forward? And that just sounds so much more positive. It sounds like you're talking to a friend, You don't, and you have to, it's like, how we read so much that your brain is like, it's no different to a computer. All these people that we talk about, amazing coders, what's essential is that your computer, that is your brain, performs the same way. Whatever algorithm you keep giving it, it will literally make that happen. So if you keep telling it that I suck, I suck, I suck, I suck, it's like you've been given a map and you're literally throwing mud on it and expecting to get somewhere. You're not going to make a lot of progress. You can't see the map, and the map's not helping you.
Yeah, that's a really powerful analogy.
You want to feed it with confidence. You want to feed it with positivity, because then it just behaves that way. It doesn't know good from bad. It really doesn't. It's not that smart. Like, unfortunately, it is what it is. So if you feed it with good information and competency and learning and feed it with like, "Look, I've done this in the past, and that means I can do stuff in the future," then it will do it. It will literally, and the science literally states, it will produce more neurons in the problem solving part of your brain, part of the hippocampus, I'm pretty sure, that will make you be able to better problem solve. It's not even a hack. It works. It's science. It will literally behave like that. It's so cool. I love the brain.
Yeah, it's easily trickable. No, I'm kidding.
It is. Essentially, it is.
Yeah. Yes. Another one is being okay with failure, as Sohan and I were saying. Just because you're confident and because you're very competent doesn't mean that you won't make mistakes. And failure is actually, as you said, Sohan, what was the quote you said?
It's a stepping stone to success.
Yes. And it's also a reflection that we lack knowledge, not of who we are as people or as a person. So get comfortable with that, because it's going to happen throughout your life multiple times and in different aspects. Be also comfortable with rejection. There was this quote that I had when I was in school that was like, "You are not a gold coin. Not everyone is going to like you." And if you are, like it's not everyone is going to like you. And there are people that are going to be like intimidated by you, or like there are going to people that are going to not agree with your way of thinking, and that's completely fine. Diversity includes different ways of thinking, and we preach so much about this like diversity, but do we really like practice it? Okay, food for thought. But yeah, be comfortable with rejection. If you don't get an opportunity. If someone rejects you at a company, well, it wasn't meant to be. Go on. Don't see it as a definition of who you are. Don't identify it as part of you self-worth. Another thing, if you want to be confident, and if this is like on the side of like relationships, just because of what I said earlier, but be comfortable with getting hurt. It's part of life. You're going to get hurt by people that you love the most, and it's just one of those things that it's a matter of like expectations, right? And not everyone has to have your same expectations. We all see the world from different lenses, so be okay with getting hurt. And pain is just another natural thing in life, but make sure that you establish strong boundaries so that pain doesn't actually become suffering.
But be
Yeah.
okay with vulnerability as well. I think a lot of the things that we were learning when we were talking about this concept is that it is okay to be vulnerable, both as a leader and as a learner. Because as a leader, that helps you build connections with, the people that you're leading. They see you as human. They will follow you more loyally, if that's a word. But as someone who's learning and coming up, it's key to building confidence is to be able to show that you're vulnerable, that you don't understand something, that you might need help on something, because the assumption that people will think you're weak or that you should already know this is one of the biggest recipes for remaining ignorant. But if you're able to
And
say, I don't know it and I'm learning, can you help me out? I need a hand. It allows you to build better connections with the people around you because, it releases oxytocin and all that sort of stuff that help people trust you. But also it will increase your knowledge. Being able to frequently put yourself in that position means you're gaining more than if you were just sitting there, to be honest.
yeah, and it's so funny because that quote, that inner dialogue of you should already know this, is such a projection of our own insecurities. So again, self-awareness comes into place. If you're feeling like you should already know this, tap into that. Why is that you should already know this? If you're a young professional, it's not like you're a senior, you know what I mean? Like if you think that you should know this, then maybe don't apply for a senior entry level position. Then apply for a higher one if you should already know that. You know what I mean? Like
Essentially, yes.
just be kinder to yourself. A big thing that make us build relationships is to remain human, right? Let's not forget our human aspect, like that humanity aspect of things. You know what I mean? Like we connect through vulnerability and raw conversations.
Which again
So yeah,
comes from that
kindness.
social confidence, which had empathy and EQ. It all comes
Yeah,
together.
EQ is a big one. Yeah, EQ is a big one.
It is.
EQ and IQ are related, apparently.
Reckon?
Well,
Some
apparently
people
they
with really
are. A
high
lot of
IQs and not very emotionally. Are they
intelligent.
outliers? Yeah.
Well, I feel like a lot of people that have like a high IQ are able to self-control, like, and which is a really big part of emotional intelligence as well. Like if you are able to control yourself in the way you react to things.
Yeah.
So it's debatable. I mean,
Yeah.
all of those things like IQ and EQ to me are like
They're
another
buildable
thing
though.
that
They're definitely buildable.
that but it's sort of like one of those categories that humans have created to sort of like be able to understand people a little bit better and stuff. But it doesn't really. I mean, obviously there are people that are brilliant, like
Essentially,
Albert
yeah. But
Einstein.
IQ is essentially just pattern recognition, and maybe not everyone can recognize patterns, but that doesn't mean they're an idiot.
Exactly.
We digress.
On that note, Brene Brown about vulnerability. She actually talks a lot about how vulnerability and kindness are key.
Are actually the future of leading,
Yeah,
which she talks about. That's literally what she says. They're
and
leading
I
with the
truly
heart is
agree
the
with
future.
that.
Me too.
And I truly agree with that because I think it's come to a point where organizations and society and individuals have come to realize that we truly aren't machines. And I think the pandemic really like was a turning point for everyone just because we faced mental health at home and it was so in our face. I
It
feel like a
was,
lot of
yeah.
people started learning how how you don't necessarily have to be quote unquote crazy to visit a psychologist, which was like a big taboo back on the day, like mental health and all of these things. Anyway.
But more people were forced to face it just by nature of being locked away from the social aspect of life. So,
well, yes, and it's funny because a lot of who we are, we're able to get from those social interactions.
exactly. So say no to zoos. Sorry, I had to say that.
Okay.
So we hope you've got a lot, either as just food for thought on what confidence might actually look like for you, or even just a kind of a controversial or contradictory, I think, opinion on what confidence is, as opposed
Yes.
to the major conversation right now, is what we were hoping to provide to you. And if you got that, then ta-da, our work is done.
Anyway, yes, guys, it's been a pleasure, truly a pleasure. And we will see you in 2 weeks' time.
If you're new to the podcast, then definitely, give us a like, give us a follow, both here and on Instagram. Or if you're a return listener and you feel like this is something you kind of like to listen to, then following will be good because you will get the updates of when we post new stuff.
Follow us on any platform you're using, being Spotify, Apple Podcast, or Google Podcast. Also, if you would like to leave a review, we would love to know if you like the content we're creating, if you can resonate to the things that we're saying, and if it is coming, if it's big value. Essentially, that's sort of like what I wanted to say. It really helps us. If we're doing a terrible job, we would like to know, improve, and provide the content that you deserve. Anyway, on that note, we'll leave you to it, and don't forget to be confident.
Yep. Ciao.